of you have lost your faith because you saw somebody else die what you about to go through? Yo, all right. I seen.
Bishop Lamor Whitehead appears to get disrupted.
You want to come preach? You want to come preach? You want to come preach? Come on up here. Come on up here.
Police say when a woman was asked to stop recording and leave, she began to antagonize the bishop and approach him on stage.
They take pictures and they want to be on social media. Take the pictures. Take the pictures.
As she walks past Bishop Whitehead, he appears to grab her from behind and they move off camera.
Welcome back. We're back with Reverend Thomas. We're talking about Bishop Whitehead, this man in Brooklyn. You've been rolling your eyes. He's got the prayer closet full of the Gucci shoes and the Rolls Royce and all the jewels, and he's doubled down. I mean, he doesn't seem ashamed at all.
The so-called Bling Bishop is also poised to lose his freedom. Lamor Whitehead facing decades in prison after a jury convicted him today on federal charges, including wire fraud and attempted extortion. Prosecutors say he ripped off a parishioner's retirement savings.
In the heart of Brooklyn, where politics, hip-hop, and the pulpit sometimes collide, one man built an empire on style, spectacle, and self-promotion. Bishop Lamor Whitehead, better known as the Bling Bishop, wasn't your traditional preacher. His church, Leaders of Tomorrow International Ministries, was as much a stage as it was a sanctuary, where designer Fendi jackets and Cuban-linked gold chains shared space with sermons on prosperity and salvation. He cultivated an image of influence, rubbing shoulders with celebrities, flaunting his friendship with the mayor, and driving a Rolls Royce through the streets of Canarsie. But behind the shine was a record of controversy, a criminal past, and a growing list of enemies. Over the next decade, Whitehead would find himself at the center of viral headlines, from a $1 million church robbery broadcast live on Facebook to federal fraud charges that would ultimately strip him of his freedom. This is the rise and fall of Brooklyn's most polarizing preacher.
But I need you to understand, I don't care about heaven.
What?
Hey, heaven is not a place where I want to go right now. Because if I leave right now, it'll bring too much sorrow on earth. Come on, somebody. I'm not going to allow the devil to prepare sorrow for earth. I'm not ready to go to heaven.
See, now it is mumbo jumbo like that.
So you can only teach this message if you're biblically sound.
Lamor Whitehead, who prefers the title Bishop Lamor Whitehead, carved out a flashy, larger-than-life persona in Brooklyn's religious scene. In 2013, he founded the Leaders of Tomorrow International Ministries in Canarsie, Brooklyn, styling himself as its bishop. From the start, his image was impossible to miss. Fendi suit jackets in bold colors, thick Cuban-linked gold chains, diamond-encrusted watches, and a Rolls Royce parked out front. The tabloids and gossip blogs quickly nicknamed him the Bling Bishop or Pastor Bling Bling. Whitehead flaunted ties to hip-hop figures and local celebrities, often posing for the cameras alongside Brooklyn's political elite. He was especially vocal about his friendship with Mayor Eric Adams, a connection he showcased at every opportunity. But behind the velvet rope persona was a turbulent past. In the early 2000s, Whitehead served 5 years in state prison for identity theft before re-emerging as a free man and launching his ministry. By his mid-40s, he was leading a small but fiercely loyal congregation, preaching prosperity and salvation, and dressing like a rap mogul while doing it. His sermons were as dramatic as his wardrobe. The Guardian once described him as a bling bling bishop with hip-hop connections. And it wasn't just style, he inserted himself into headline-making events. From trying to mediate a high-profile 2022 subway deletion case to suggesting publicly that every member of his church should carry a pistol for protection, Whitehead blurred the lines between pastor, influencer, and showman, cultivating a reputation as one of New York City's most polarizing preachers.
I'm excited, and I'm hoping and praying that they catch all three of them.
These latest photos show 3 men in all black clothing with their faces covered.
All right.
Suspects, police say, robbed Bishop Lamor Whitehead and his wife, Bishop Asia Whitehead, of their jewelry Sunday at gunpoint. Police are now searching for the 3 suspects. You can see at least 2 of those individuals in this newly released surveillance video walking up to the building. Robbery captured on the church's live stream, showing one man with a gun on the bishop and another removing his jewelry. You then see parishioners scrambling. The NYPD says the suspects took off from the church along Remsen Avenue and got into a white Mercedes-Benz, last seen traveling eastbound on Avenue D.
Whitehead believes his family was targeted because of the publicity he received when he helped turn in the suspect wanted in the fatal subway shooting of 48-year-old Daniel Enriquez in May.
I turned them in, but the media called me the Bling Bling Bishop.
On July 24, 2022, Bishop Lamor Whitehead's Sunday service in Canarsie took a sudden and violent turn. The leaders of Tomorrow International Ministries was mid-sermon, live streaming on Facebook, when 3 masked gunmen stormed into the sanctuary. Security footage captured Whitehead instantly dropping to the floor in front of his pulpit, motioning for his congregation to stay calm, even as chaos erupted around him. The intruders targeted the pastor's family first. At one point, one of the armed men shoved a handgun toward Whitehead's 8-month-old child while others stripped jewelry from his wife. The thieves moved quickly, snatching gold chains, diamond-encrusted watches, a $75,000 timepiece, and even Whitehead's bishop's ring. By the time they fled in a white Mercedes, changing clothes en route. According to witnesses, they had made off with an estimated $1 million in valuables. No one was physically harmed, but the trauma ran deep. Congregants recalled women screaming, children crying, and the fear that violence might erupt at any second. Within hours, news outlets across the country were broadcasting the footage, labeling it a robbery in real time. The viral video sparked both sympathy and skepticism, with some viewers questioning the authenticity of the incident. Whitehead dismissed those doubts outright, blaming the attack on the attention his flashy lifestyle and media appearances had brought. He pointed to coverage of his Rolls Royce, designer suits, and expensive jewelry as making him an easy mark. "They had my Rolls Royce all over everywhere," he told CBS New York. By September 2022, NYPD had arrested 2 suspects, charging them with armed robbery and grand larceny. Whitehead, meanwhile, filed defamation suits against online critics who called the heist a setup. He also doubled down on his belief that pastors should be armed, telling reporters, "I think all clergy should be able to get pistol permits. If I had one that day, maybe things would have gone differently." The robbery didn't dim his public profile, it supercharged it. Interviews followed, including one with rapper Fat Joe, who noted, "It's kinda messed up you got robbed, but people don't believe you got robbed." The moment cemented Whitehead as both a victim and a polarizing figure, one whose image as the Bling Bishop was now as much a headline as his sermons.
We're going to pause right here.
During a live stream Sunday service at Leaders of Tomorrow International Ministries, Bishop Lamor Miller Whitehead appears to get disrupted.
You want to come preach? You want to come preach? You want to come preach? Come on up here. Come on up here.
The bishop says it all started when 2 women came into the church mid-sermon.
One of my ministers told them that you cannot record. You can't record. And they began to make a scene.
Police say when a woman was asked to stop recording and leave, she began to antagonize the bishop and approach him on stage.
They take pictures and they want to be on social media. Take the pictures. Take the pictures.
As she walks past Bishop Whitehead, he appears to grab her from behind and they move off camera.
I've seen her walk in front of me, going at my wife and my daughter, and I grabbed her.
He says he was worried about his family and thinking back to the moment in July when he was robbed at gunpoint during a sermon streamed live online. The woman in the video, 47-year-old Tarsha Howard, was arrested and charged with trespass and disrupting a religious service.
Just 2 months after the headline-making robbery, Bishop Lamor Whitehead was back in viral territory, this time for a Sunday service that spiraled into chaos on camera. On September 18, 2022, while preaching at Leaders of Tomorrow International Ministries in Brooklyn, two women entered the sanctuary mid-sermon. Their arrival was abrupt and disruptive, drawing murmurs from the congregation. Whitehead stopped speaking, eyed one of the women, and mockingly invited her to the pulpit, saying, "You want to come preach?" He added, "I'm gonna make you famous," as the tension in the room grew. Moments later, the woman began shouting toward Whitehead's wife and infant child. That's when the pastor moved. Stepping forward, he grabbed her by the back of the neck and forcefully steered her toward the exit, commanding congregants, "Now move her out of here." She was pushed down the aisle and out of frame, while Whitehead, seemingly unfazed, returned to his sermon as if nothing had happened. The footage exploded online. Social media dubbed it the coronation livestream, though mainstream news outlets described it simply as a church disruption that turned physical. Police from the 69th precinct quickly arrived, detaining both Whitehead and the unidentified woman. Detectives initially told the pastor he would face assault charges. Whitehead, furious, claimed he was defending his family and alleged that the incident was part of a setup by online detractors. Indeed, within hours, the NYPD released both parties without filing charges. Whitehead later went live on Facebook, calling the arrest a deliberate targeting of his public profile and vowing that no amount of controversy would stop him from preaching.
A normally flashy Bishop Lamor Whitehead was silent outside federal court as his attorney denied all fraud allegations against him. The Brooklyn pastor, known for delivering sermons in designer suits and lavish jewels at Leaders of Tomorrow International Ministries, is being accused by federal prosecutors of obtaining part of his wealth illegally.
Bishop Lamor Whitehead is not guilty of these charges. We are vigorously going to defend these accusations.
He allegedly convinced a parishioner to invest $90,000 of her retirement savings with him, but spent it all on himself. He is also accused of extorting a businessman of $5,000, then convincing the victim to lend him $500,000 more and give him a stake in real estate transactions in return for favors from the city government, which Whitehead knew he could not obtain.
Today, the jury convicted me in court. However, I still believe God.
In December 2022, federal prosecutors in Manhattan unsealed a secret indictment against Pastor Lamor Whitehead, charging him with multiple counts of fraud, extortion, and making false statements to the FBI. The indictment alleged that Whitehead engaged in a series of schemes to enrich himself by exploiting his position as a clergyman and community figure. In one case, prosecutors claimed he convinced a 56-year-old parishioner to invest $90,000 of her retirement savings with him under the promise that it would help her purchase a home. Instead, Whitehead allegedly spent the money on luxury items and never assisted her in buying the property. In another alleged scheme, Whitehead was accused of pressuring a New York businessman to give him $5,000, then attempting to extort a far larger sum, $500,000 plus stakes in real estate deals, by claiming he could use his influence with city officials, including New York City Mayor Eric Adams, to secure favorable outcomes. Prosecutors also charged that Whitehead submitted a falsified $250,000 loan application, doctoring bank statements to make it appear as though he had millions in deposits. Additionally, they alleged he lied to FBI agents during a search of his home, falsely insisting he had no other cell phones. The case drew significant public attention, especially as media outlets had already reported on allegations of financial misconduct months earlier, shortly after a highly publicized robbery at his church. Despite the mounting accusations, Whitehead's attorney, Dawn Florio, maintained that her client denied all wrongdoing and would fight the charges vigorously. U.S. Attorney Damian Williams accused Whitehead of abusing the trust of his congregation and bullying others for money, declaring that such fraud stops now. The FBI echoed this sentiment, warning that those who exploit positions of trust for personal gain would face justice.
Lamor Whitehead facing decades in prison after a jury convicted him today on federal charges, including wire fraud and attempted extortion. Prosecutors say he ripped off a parishioner's retirement savings.
After a 2-week trial in early 2024, a Manhattan jury found Whitehead guilty on all 5 federal counts. Jurors sided with prosecutors' version of events, concluding that he had defrauded his own parishioner out of her life savings and tried to use his alleged relationship with the mayor to extort a businessman. Even after the conviction, Whitehead remained defiant, posting on social media to urge supporters to stop listening to social media and do your own research, and insisting he was innocent of all charges.
Brooklyn pastor has been sentenced to 9 years in prison for fraud. Prosecutors say Bishop Whitehead stole thousands of dollars from his parishioners to buy luxury goods and sought to defraud and extort a businessman.
On June 17, 2024, U.S. District Judge Lorna Schofield sentenced Lamor Whitehead to 9 years in federal prison, marking the final chapter of his high-profile fraud case. In delivering the sentence, prosecutors emphasized that Whitehead had stolen millions through his various schemes and had gravely betrayed the trust of the very parishioners he was supposed to protect. Alongside the prison term, the court ordered him to pay $85,000 in restitution and to forfeit an additional $95,000 in illicit gains. The ruling effectively removed him from the pulpit of his ministry, dismantling the image he had cultivated for years as a flashy, influential Brooklyn pastor. Whitehead's attorney, Dawn Florio, told NPR she was deeply saddened by the outcome, insisting that her client maintains his innocence. She quickly announced plans to appeal, vowing to guarantee justice through the appeals process. As of mid-2025, Whitehead remains incarcerated, with his appeal still pending. In a related matter, the 2 men accused of robbing Whitehead's church in 2022 both faced their own legal resolutions. One pleaded guilty to stealing roughly $1 million in jewelry during the live-streamed heist, while the other met his demise in a police confrontation just months later. The fraud case and streaming incidents were only the most public of Whitehead's controversies. Over the years, he drew scrutiny for numerous legal and financial irregularities. For example, prosecutors at sentencing noted that Whitehead had pawned or sold many of the luxury goods purchased with the swindled funds. He also falsified paperwork to qualify for a $1.3 million mortgage on a New Jersey mansion, fabricating bank records that showed an LLC he controlled had millions on deposit. In other words, Whitehead paraded wealth he didn't have to secure loans and payments. His fraudulent $250,000 loan application was just one in a pattern. Prosecutors alleged he submitted similar false documents to multiple lenders. By mid-2025, the man who once strutted through Brooklyn in tailored designer suits now wears a prison uniform, serving a 9-year federal sentence. His fall was as spectacular as his rise, a trajectory fueled by charisma, controversy, and an unrelenting appetite for attention. The Bling Bishop remains defiant, insisting on his innocence and promising an appeal, even as the courts brand him a con man who preyed on the very flock he claimed to shepherd. To his supporters, he is a persecuted leader targeted for his success. To his critics, he is the embodiment of greed in the pulpit. Whether Lamor Whitehead's legacy will be remembered as that of a visionary pastor or a cautionary tale of vanity and deception may depend on the outcome of his appeals, but for now, the Rolls Royce is gone, the jewelry is pawned, and the self-styled bishop delivers no sermons behind the walls of a federal prison.